Think 12 Years a Slave, but 10 times harder to watch. Hey everyone, this is Imad again from I Like to Watch Stuff, and here is my review for the Netflix film Beasts of No Nation. A boy is a dangerous thing. This is said by Idris Elba, who plays the character of the Commandant, and this statement is sort of echoed out throughout the film. Written and directed by Cary Fukunga of True Detective fame, the film is based on a novel by another author, which also chronicles the life of a child soldier. In the film, we meet Agu, a good boy from a good family, these are his own words, and is played by Ibrahim Matah, who acts the hell out of this role for being a young actor, and mostly with his eyes and facial expressions. The movie initially has a very warm feeling to it, as we see Agu and his friends trying to hustle basically, and they're trying to sell this imagination TV, and it's very charming the whole start of the film. I also like how we're introduced to Agu's family. His father is this chief, his mom is like a housewife, and his brother, who is this self-obsessed, girl-crazy guy. What also struck me about the film was how much of it is in the native language. And this really sets it apart from a lot of films that I've seen in a while. And eventually, this calmness doesn't last, and Agu's village is attacked by some sort of rebel group. A lot of violence ensues, and Fukunga makes a very creative choice to not really show the violence at this point. You only see the violence from the perspective of the actors. That really adds a layer of intensity to the film. Speaking about intensity, the film also has a great sound design. It is fairly quiet for most scenes in the film, and you hear nothing but nature sounds. But even like a roar of a car or the slow booming music really adds tension and intensity to the scenes. And the entire movie is helped by the beautiful cinematography. Somehow, Agu makes it out of the village alive and is captured by the NDP, which is Idris Elba's group. It is in this setting where we really see Agu change from the humble boy to not so humble boy. Trying not to spoil stuff here, guys, stick with me. Speaking about Idris Elba, he plays the character of the Commandant, this predator who preys on children and leads them to this life of war, and has a really interesting demeanor. It's kind of like a mix from his character from the show The Wire and the movie Pacific Rim. No, really, there are scenes in the movie where he's kind of makes a bunch of speeches which are very similar to the speech he made in Pacific Rim. That was like one of the things that really took me out of the film. And it's also interesting to see this character develop and change throughout the story. The commanding presence of the Commandant doesn't last, as he sort of diminishes throughout the movie as he finds out that he's just a pawn in this giant war and politics, which isn't entirely clear, and was one of my big gripes with this film was that we weren't really sure about the setting, and the whole political situation was pretty vague. Also, so many abbreviations, I couldn't keep track of all the names of the different forces. There's the NDP, there's the PL, I couldn't keep track. This movie also marks a really interesting shift in the movie industry, led by Netflix of course, as it did a limited release in theaters and released it on Netflix as well. This is an interesting move as it's never been done before, and it's really interesting to see this quality of a movie coming out of a fairly small production company that is Netflix. Some theaters even outright banned this movie. But with the rise of video on demand and with the success of movies like The Interview and such. Anyways, my entire vibe with this film was this sort of magical realism type thing, as the movie had this odd sense of fantasy to it. When you see the movie, you'll know what I mean. The movie is scary. It's downright terrifying to watch at certain scenes, and is one hell of a ride. I rate it 9 out of 10. So tell me guys, have you seen Beasts of No Nation? If so, tell me what you thought of the movie. And also be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this.